everybody. This is Heidi Anderson, and you're listening to the Movie Rage Show.
It's time for the Movie Rage. Tonight's victim is voice actor Heidi Anderson, that is popularly known as Jill Valentine in the Resident Evil 2002 1 remake video game, amongst many others. Hello.
Hey there. Hey, Mike.
What have you been doing lately? I know you're a motivation speaker for health, mental health, and various other issues. Is there any other cons or anything that you'd like to also mention that we haven't even checked out just yet?
So I'm going to be on a live event on Streamily on May 3rd with some of my Resident Evil castmates, and Joe White and Hope Levy and Peter, I forgot his last name, he's going to hate me. And then also my friend Ariel Linus, he's going to be joining us as well. He was in a different Resident Evil game, but he's coming with us for the live event. And so we're going to be signing autographs then. So I've got that coming up. I don't know when you're going to post this interview. God, I don't know if I have a con.
Well, that's very cool. Now, after several characters and artists, when there have been, whether it's video game or film or anything miscellaneous, do you feel like when a character of interest is presented that an artist should kind of shift on that structure of character, not just the base of it, even when it's a popular character like Jill Valentine?
So this is actually a really interesting point that you bring up, because this is what happened when I went in and did the job for Jill Valentine. When I did that, Resident Evil was not really popular. Nobody knew about it, and video games weren't really a thing at the time. They were there, but they just hadn't exploded on the scene. And so when I went in and I was doing the job, I'm a very sensitive person, and I can really feel a lot of empathy for other people, and then when I'm acting, I feel it for the characters, and so I was really emoting in that way. And the director stopped me, and he said, "No, Jill is much tougher than this," and he gave me that adjustment, and so I was able to play the character not how my instincts were telling me to play her, but how the director and the producers wanted me to play her, which was much stronger than I was playing her at that time. And so that was good. I liked it a lot. I really like direction. I like the working and collaborating with people to come up with what they want, what they're looking for.
Now, did they also go by a little bit some of the original Resident Evil? Now, even the original Resident Evil, Jill Valentine, she didn't exactly have a huge following either as far as character goes. As a matter of fact, no one even recognized as far as voicing the character half the time.
Yeah.
But did they ever go with some of that material and kind of morphed it into this remake to where it's something you can make of your own, even though you are directed with between your emotions of this character and their emotions, kind of like pitting each other?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, I listened to, the clips from the game, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. That's me doing my thing. Sounds like me. Yes, definitely.
Do you feel that opportunity, like Resident Evil, of course, amongst many other things, even if you got a part in a TV series, whether it's big or small, is something that more of where you're going rather than how to exceed from that opportunity?
I think I would just trust my instincts. My world is really different. I've got a lot of different things happening, and I'm enjoying that, actually. So I do prevention education, as you mentioned. I specifically talk about mental health, wellness, and what you can do to protect your mental health. And one of the things that you have to do is to understand how drugs can impact your mental health. And one of the drugs that's really being promoted today is marijuana. And people don't know that that is the number one drug that can cause a person to have psychosis, and also that psychosis can turn into schizophrenia. And a lot of people have no idea that this is a possibility. That's my mission in life, is to get that message out into the world. And so that's what I do on a regular basis. And so for me to do something like talk about Jill Valentine, my acting career, talk with you, Mike, I mean, it's really fun for me, and it's a big relief from drugs and mental illness. So I'm embracing that. I'm embracing different aspects of life and just saying yes to things and enjoying them.
As far as the mental health aspect, do you feel that an artist should use their character or characters a reflective balance on themselves emotionally if they are going through some tough times? Like, it's almost like an imbalance. Do you feel like this is a good way, therapeutic wise, to not just get the work but in getting the characters in, but they also learn from themselves what they're actually facing in reality rather than just going through the usual motions that most of us usually do on a daily basis?
I think art is a great way to express yourself. It's a great way, whether it be acting or writing or dancing or singing or playing an instrument or even exercising, but artistic creation to express yourself and to go through what you're feeling, I think it's super healthy. And this is what I did with my brother. My brother was a homeless drug addict with schizophrenia, and it was horrible. It was horrible for him. It was horrible for our family. It was horrible for me because in so many ways I was so helpless to help him. But I did what I could, and I'm so thankful to say that we got him off the streets, and he is sober today, and he is housed today, and I am just so grateful for that. But what to do with all that pain, what to do with all that angst and stored up, and so what we did together was we wrote a story together, and it's based on his true life, and we just changed it up and put a fictional plot around it to give it some intrigue, but we used his really sad story for good and to help other people. And so that's called A Night in Jail, and we wrote it as a book, and we produced it as an audiobook, and a really wonderful voiceover actor named Quentin Flynn. He did the audiobook for it. He's amazing. We made it into a play, and we made it into a short film that was led by teenagers. And so by taking his story and reframing it as a project to help other people was really healing. It has helped us so much and helped me to reframe that very, very painful time and work on it in my own head, in my own psyche. And it's just inspired me to keep going like that. I want to keep educating people and letting them know how to, there are some mental illnesses that we can't prevent, but there are some that we can. And in the worst addiction and mental health crisis in our country, we have to do everything we can to prevent it whenever we can, and that's just with education. I think art to work out whatever you're going through. I love that.
Do you feel that that's a true method even today, society? Media is always becoming the usual, has it always been, as far as deprecation? Do you feel deprecation can be a double-edged sword for what you are trying to present in a positive light, that unfortunately there's all this, twisted tabloidry and always twisting all kinds of things, making it more entertainment? Do you feel it gets harder to deprecate the real issue and positivity, what you are trying to get out there, instead of using different kind of other methods? Do you feel like just simply talking and teaching is really the best way, rather than send it through streaming and all this stuff that people don't really exactly fully understand it?
Yeah, I do think that there is a dearth of film and TV shows that illustrate the harms of marijuana specifically. And now we can go into shrooms as well, because those are being promoted. And I think that's really harmful to society. There are films that have done a good job of showing the harms of alcohol and opioids and cocaine. But you don't really see that as much with marijuana. But what you do see a lot on streaming are programs where drug use is being normalized, and it's like a part of comedy oftentimes, and it's like, oh, it's so funny, it's no big deal, look at this joke around it, but they don't know about the dark side of it, and how bad that can be for so many people. It really surprises me, because when we talk about drama or horror even, if you heard some of the stories of people who were in cannabis-induced psychosis, it's like a horror film. It's unbelievable. I'm working with a young woman right now. Her name is Bryn Spacer, and she had a horrible experience with cannabis-induced psychosis, and she ended up killing her friend. Now, she had no intention of harming her friend. She almost died herself. She stabbed her friend with a knife. She was completely out of touch with reality, had no control of her body, no control over her mind, and she killed her friend with knives, and she stabbed her own dog, and she was stabbing herself in the throat, and she would have died if the officers hadn't broke in and intervened. But now she's alive to tell. And this is just one story. And there's just so many others. You can look them up. There was a man in Canada in a state of cannabis-induced psychosis. He beheaded his father. I mean, it's the stuff of horror films. It really is. And so to me, I'm surprised that these kind of stories haven't gotten out there into the universe. I mean, because they're real. These are true things that have happened, and things that people would just never even imagine. A boy in Houston, a teenager, ate a bunch of THC gummies, and then he called 911 and he says, I've got to kill somebody, I'm going to kill somebody. And they called his house and they said, lady, your son is saying he wants to kill somebody. And she says, oh, I don't know anything about it. She hung up, and he came up and he shot her and he shot his sister. So he was in a complete state of psychosis from THC gummies. And people they just don't really hear these stories, and I believe it's, because there's a lot of money invested in marijuana, and people want to go ahead and profit from it in the same way they did with tobacco, the same way they do with alcohol. It's tough. It's like that. This is why I'm saying, it's such a relief to talk to someone like you and to enjoy a fun conversation to help prevent this kind of misery.
Have you ever thought of possibly starting acting workshops for people who are going through these types of severe mental illness and other substantial issues like that? Like, they act it out and to get through the emotions that they are feeling, but also possibly even get funding from other companies that could possibly help you out and kind of turn their life around a little bit. You ever thought about doing something investing wise?
No, I never have. And I don't think anyone would ever hire me to do so, because I'm not a professional psychiatrist or psychologist or social worker. I'm an actress who writes and produces and directs, but I'm not a professional therapist. I would say, it's a great idea for a professional if they wanted to incorporate art into helping their clients, get through something traumatic. Definitely.
Do you think it's better to divide personal, emotional, fantasy type of emotions, that it can resolve certain mental issues, not entirely solve everything, but an artist or even a non-artist, like, what changes do you feel is really a better way, even on a professional level, between your experiences and what may have others experience from their own way to a degree?
Yeah, I think so. I think acting, writing, singing. You hear of famous breakup albums, like Adele, her wonderful breakup album. It's incredible. That's a really productive use of heartbreak. And I think, probably some writing and films have been productions from trauma for someone who originated the work. I do. I think so. And there's a lot of trauma in alcoholism and other forms of addiction or mental illness, and they can be portrayed really well on the stage and in film, and definitely.
Have you ever thought about planning to even create your own type of even mini series or anything related to what you are speaking as far as these serious issues go? Like, not necessarily as preachy episodes, but something that you yourself are, from your professional voice acting experience, to create characters themselves and invite other people to do that, and make something, these different stories that people have never actually illustrated before.
Oh, that's interesting. I had not thought of that. I had not.
Do you feel like when it comes to character goes, like, do you feel that others should use less of and then more of, and vice versa, depending on the character? Do you think sometimes it's better to use less of a certain element, what you're trying to create, and then more of, to help create that character?
Well, I think we work with the other creators, the director specifically, and they can help with that and say, okay, try this, do this a little more, try to take this down a little bit. As I was saying, that's a really good collaborative effort. It helps to get feedback.
Oh, absolutely. And do you also feel that even Resident Evil is massive now, beyond like it being basically one of the top legends, if not the in horror aspect of things? Do you feel that this is one of the few positive things that an artist really can be behind of? Because Capcom has given quite a bit over might as well just say century of what they did with not just Resident Evil, but their other games as well. But and there are companies out there that are giving less money to actors or voice actors and so forth, that are struggling to even regain that same buck that they were given to back in 1998 or whatever. Do you feel that this company has given you more than what you ever asked for?
I think you've really described it well, that when I did Resident Evil, this was not too long after an actor's strike, and I was on the picket lines with everybody, and one of the things that we did not fight for was a new video game contract. And we were promised, the Screen Actors Guild was promised by the producers of the video games. They said, look, video games aren't a big thing right now, but if they turn out to be a big thing, then we'll come back and we'll adjust the contract. And so shortly after that, I did Resident Evil, and shortly after that, I retired from acting. So I haven't really followed too much of the contract, but from what I understand, they never changed the contract. And so the actors, there are no residuals, at least not for us on Resident Evil, the remake. No, there was not a lot of money in the end for how popular it's been and for what a huge success it's been for Capcom. Do I think they should have compensated us more? I absolutely do. Do I think they should do it now? I absolutely do. Will they? No, they're not going to. But what I've gotten back from, interviews like this and the interaction with the fans has just been a real joy. I've been really thrilled to hear that people love the game, that they love Jill Valentine, and I just feel so fortunate and blessed that I had, the luck to have played this iconic character, and I'm so thrilled that that's me. I'm really, really, really thrilled. And I didn't know how popular the game was until just a few years ago, and it's been a real gift to me to hear about that and to get to know people and interact with the fans. It's been really wonderful. So I've gotten a lot from Capcom in the end. You are correct.
Go ahead and plug in any websites that you care to add, and as well, where can we read your book, and if there's any other appearances that you might be coming in the future.
To anightinjail.com. That's where people can find the book that I wrote with my brother and read information about what I talk about, which is marijuana and mental illness, and it's not the only drug that causes mental illness, but that's the one that I have the education on now, and that's what happened, what helped my brother to become psychotic and then ultimately homeless and onto other drugs and everything. So that's anightinjail.com. And then if you want to learn more about cannabis-induced psychosis other than from A Night in Jail, you can go to everybrainmatters.org. That's a nonprofit that I contract with. I speak for them and work with them. Additionally, consider buying the book A Night in Jail or the audio book with the voiceover actor Quentin Flynn. It's so good.